And I've still got you all this week. That's amazing. I lost you all last week, didn't I? Or was that? No, that was Thursday. Right. This is something that is probably becoming more and more of a problem for people with all that's going on, because I think certainly one of the things I haven't done a slide on, but has a marked effect on sleep, is stress. And there's no doubt about the fact that the last year has been enormously stressful for some people. And so thinking about the fact that when we produce cortisol, and I really don't know why I didn't do a slide on this, but anyway, it makes a nice introduction. When we're producing cortisol from the adrenals, the cortisol will block melatonin from the pineal. And that means straight away that we're not producing the hormone that helps keep us asleep. And so sleep orders generally have been increasing since around the 1970s. And there's a sleep researcher, Stasha Gominek, who feels that this is highly connected to when around the 1970s, she says most of the planet became electrified in some way. Whereas perhaps, you know, everything caught up around then, 70s, 80s. And so sleep disorders have increased, and conditions like sleep apnea, where people have breathing issues as well. And they then aren't able to enter a proper sleep paralysis and have the right amount of deep sleep and REM sleep or REM sleep. And so there are a few predisposing factors to things like sleep apnea. As it mentions here, sinus congestion, contributing to narrowed airways, carrying excess weight, high blood pressure, and family history. And also men are far more likely to have the problem. So one of the things it's always great to look at is, to start with, is how dark is your room? Because it's so hard now to cut out all the street light interference and other lighting from maybe even an alarm clock being in the room, or sorry.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. And so all the little gadgets that we have, you know, perhaps if somebody has a TV in the room, which I wouldn't recommend, to be honest, because you're creating more electromagnetic frequencies in the room as well. So it's really important to try and keep electrical equipment out of the room and have the room as dark as possible. And then blue light from obviously being on a screen like this. So I do apologise for having these so late at night, because that's no help to you at all. But trying to cut off any blue light from the TV, from laptops, from phones, from tablets, from at least 2 hours before you would like to go to sleep, so that the melatonin production from the pineal is able to come up and start getting into a good flow. And so then a really important factor to look at now is our exposure to electromagnetic frequencies. And with Mr. Elon Musk being keen on the idea of having, is it 60,000 satellites for 5G out in the universe, and he's on the way with 12,000 from what I hear, or he and other people, that we are really getting quite overwhelmed with electromagnetic frequencies from you know, our outer space, We've got the antenna locally. Then we've got electricity generally, which is known to have an impact on sleep. All of the non-ionizing radiation, really, which is known now to be contributing to many health issues, never mind ionizing radiation. And so what can we do to combat this and help on the way back? Well, one of the things they do know that EMFs do is that they interfere with your calcium metabolism. So that can have an impact for people with arthritis, you know, any tendency to gallstones, kidney stones, to calcium deposits on the joints, calcium deposits on bunions, calcium deposits on into the arteries, contributing to things like heart attacks and strokes. And so it's thinking about, we want to hold calcium in the right place. We want it to be on the skeleton, and we want tiny trace of it, amounts of it, to be in the blood for blood clotting, to help that if needed, and also to help keep blood sugar steady. Because if you can keep your blood sugar steady overnight, then you will sleep much, much better. And so I'll come back to eating in a little while further on. So thinking about vitamin D is almost like a hormone in its own right that we produce when we're exposed to sunshine, and it helps support your calcium metabolism in your body. And in the winter, when we're really low from it, and autumn, of course, as well, then getting lower after spring and summer, that this is a time when sleep can also be affected by the lack of vitamin D. And of course, we need really to be able to expose ourselves to it and have enough of it in the spring and summer to get a good storage in the liver. And then you've got your gut flora, and your gut flora also helps contribute towards sleep, because our little gut flora, the positive ones, produce 80% of our serotonin. And serotonin is like your well-being and feel-good neurotransmitter. But additionally, it helps as it's a precursor for your melatonin hormone. So if you've got the ingredients and the gut flora to make serotonin, that will also help you make the melatonin in the pineal that helps you sleep. Additionally, 7 out of 8 of your B vitamins are made by your gut flora. And in particular, the only one it doesn't make is niacin, which is your B3. And your B6 is also used to help you make melatonin and serotonin. And it also helps you to remember your dreams. So if you're someone who doesn't tend to remember your dreams, then it can be that, you know, there's a need for B6. So looking at foods that are high in B6, like your whole grains, your nuts and your seeds, things like oily fish and clean red meats and chicken will hold some as well. Your green leafy vegetables, and your vegetables generally are a good source of B vitamins, but they also help you make good gut flora, which will help with your B vitamin manufacture generally. And then B12 is lovely because it helps with those cyclical circadian rhythms in the body, one of which is your sleep pattern. Now also, where calcium is important for sleep because calcium relaxes your central nervous system, and magnesium is important because it relaxes your muscles. And so if your central nervous system is relaxed and your muscles are relaxed, you're far more likely to be able to go into a proper sleep paralysis where your body is in a relaxed state and not constantly jerking and twitching, which is going to affect your proper restorative sleep, which is your really deep sleep, when really you shouldn't be moving very much at all, if at all. You know, we need to be in a steady, still state of slumber for at least 5 hours in our deep sleep. And then we've got the REM sleep, which is sort of 2 to 3 hours of dream sleep with the rapid eye movement. And then you've got your antioxidants, such as E and C. And I was mentioning sleep apnea before. And of course, another thing that can really bug a partner is snoring. And it's that sleeping with the mouth open. But your vitamin C and your vitamin E will help you with breathing during sleep. And so they can be, you know, it can be good to look at food sources of those, of course. So you've got, you know, things like your citrus, which are nice and high in vitamin C. You've got your peppers, you've got your green leafy veg is a nice source of vitamin C. Things like your carrots have a bit. Any rich coloured vegetables will have some vitamin C. You've got things for vitamin E, like the nuts and seeds are a lovely source, and a little bit, you know, trace elements in some of your fruit and veg as well. And then there's sort of lifestyle factors like eating early. If we eat by 6 p.m, it means that once we've gone to bed, we're not still processing some of the water that we'll absorb from our food, which is meaning that we'll then need to get up for the night for a wee, because we've eaten late, which means that we're still absorbing the water from the food, and our kidneys will be processing that and clearing it out in the middle of the night instead of in the morning, when we really want to be able to hang on to by. So sometimes, you know, people think, well, it's because I've been drinking water all evening. But if we're eating late as well, that also will provide an enormous quantity of water. And so eating by 6 p.m. also helps avoid stomach time from 7 to 9, when our stomach is at its lowest point and wanting to be able to rest and avoid worrying too much about digestion. Then another factor is being in bed by between 10 and 11 p.m. if possible, because once you get to 11 o'clock at night, you've got 11 till 1 is your gallbladder peak time. You've got 1 till 3 is liver peak time. 3 till 5 is peak time for the lungs, and 7 in the morning is peak time for your large intestine. And all of those routes of elimination and detox are helping your body to clean the blood, to clean your cells. And really, ideally, if you're resting while they're doing that, then you are going to give your body's cells the best opportunity for a good cleanse, and your liver, you know, the sweetest opportunity for support as well. So something to think about before bed, instead of maybe watching TV as a last night relax, because it doesn't really relax us because of the blue lights. And of course, I'm not very relaxing either, so don't rely on that, especially not with these all this blue light. And so then jumping into a nice warm bath can be really helpful. But then on the other hand, if you have trouble getting off to sleep, I'll just mention another hydrotherapy technique, which is to run